what I like about Amaro is the lack of boundaries in the category.
Hmm.
There's this Chicago bartender, Alex Bachman, who said, you can go. He said he could go out in the weeds or in the cracks in the sidewalk in front of the restaurant,
Hmm.
pick weeds, put them in spirit, and it could be an Amaro.
Hmm.
But I think there are rough categories,
Yeah.
Barbaro and Carciofo and stuff like that. But I love the original spirit of what it was, which is
Hmm.
like this is a way to preserve what grows around us, and it was medicine. Like it was a way to preserve medicinal properties of plants.
Hmm.
And so it was really the first kind of hyper local spirit, right? And as Brad Parsons' book Amaro, when it came out, he had some recipes in the back for how to make your own, and it was really inspiring to me because the category was kind of new in my world, and
Hmm.
it was like, all right, you can make your own, but it was get cinnamon and clove and star anise and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And the bar program we were trying to build, and really like the focal point of the Farm and Fisherman is always about what grows around us. And so our chef kind of nudged me and was like, I feel like we could make our own, but
Hmm.
using things that grow around us in New Jersey. And
Hmm.
so really diving into the old practices of how the different rough classifications of amari, thinking about what type of analogs for those ingredients exist here in this area. A huge inspiration for that was um, this woman Bianca. Her last name's escaping me. Who owns Uncouth Vermouth, which is probably
Okay.
kind of up near you, I think.
Maybe.
Hudson Valley, right? You're in the Hudson Valley,
Yeah,
kind of.
Lower Hudson Valley. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's big and spread out. So I don't know half of what's going on, but
I heard this great podcast with her, and it's called the Speakeasy Podcast with Souther Teague and David Bolte. And she was talking about how she was approaching old world vermouth and amari
hmm.
and aperitivi and digestivi, and she was doing so with things that grew on her farm. And I was working on a farm at the time, and I was really kind of getting into foraging. And I had a garden behind the restaurant, a garden behind my house, and I was like, I feel like I could do this, and
Hmm.
so we started, experimentally, and I do make them in Amaro each season. As I've been doing more like collaborations and pop-ups with the book,
Hmm.
I try to make an Amaro with each restaurant that I work with. So like I
Okay.
have this Dead Rabbit pop up in like 2 weeks, and we made a red bitter with hibiscus and sumac and trifoliate oranges, all things that grow around here. And it looks like it could be Campari or
Yeah.
in that
Okay.
family. That was the first red bitter I've ever done. But when I did the recipes in the book, I wanted to do something that lined up with a category, uh,
Hmm.
so that was like somewhat familiar to people. So the spring was rhubarb amaro, a rabarbaro. Summer was a carciofo, more of like a wine based like vino
Hmm.
amaro with cardoon and peaches and hops. Spring is just like all the ephemera, all the flowers that like are
Hmm.
there and then they're not, spruce tips and stuff like that. Fall is a Genepi Amaro.
Okay.
The winter is an Alpine Amaro, which I go out to the pine barrens and forage. Basically, like evergreen things that are out there, and it tastes like the forest. So birch and pine and
Hmm. Oh, that sounds good.
cedar and yeah. So I think that it's. I just taught a Milk Street class 2 nights ago, and one of the things was like how to make your own Amaro, and it is a very diverse group of people, but I feel like I tried to impart on them like there are no rules.
Yeah.
Use what you feel excited about, what you can find, and just trust your palate at the end. It is more
Hmm.
like kind of like what you said earlier. It's more like cooking where you're making something by the gallon
Hmm.
or gallons, and you can adjust and you can dilute further or sweeten. Unlike when you're making a cocktail, which I think of as more like baking, you have to be very, very precise.
Hmm.
So I think with the amari, it's like even if it is a really strong flavor on its own, which many amari are,
Hmm.
when you use that in a cocktail, it you have ways to tinker and balance as well.
Yeah.